The Nutcracker. A nutcracker is a wooden or metal tool for cracking the shells. When this story was written, nuts were special Christmas treats. Some nutcrackers were even shaped like dolls and given as presents. This is the tale of a rather unusual nutcracker doll. A soft, fluffy layer of snow covered Clara's house on Christmas Eve. Inside, a party was in full swing, but one very special guest hadn't arrived. Clara watched for him at the window. Suddenly, there was a loud knock on the door. "He's here!" she cried, dancing over and flinging open the door. It was Clara's godfather. She gave him a big hug. "What a warm welcome on such a chilly night," he said with a chuckle. Clara loved her godfather's visits. Something magical always happened when he was around. "I have a very special present for you this year," he told Clara as he placed a package under the tree. That night, Clara couldn't sleep. She lay in bed thinking about her presents. "It can't hurt if I just have a little peek," she thought. Finally, Clara tiptoed downstairs. She soon found the present, tied up with a big red bow. On the ribbon, there was a tag with a message. "Merry Christmas, Clara. I hope this protects you. With love from your godfather." "I wonder what godfather means," thought Clara. Slowly, Clara untied the bow and folded back a corner of the paper. Inside, she found a wooden nutcracker doll, dressed like a soldier. Just then, the clock struck midnight. Clara gave an enormous yawn. In a few minutes, she was fast asleep under the tree. Clara woke up with a start, feeling very confused. She couldn't remember where she was, and her doll had vanished. She looked around and saw she was under the Christmas tree, and it seemed to be growing. What's happening? But the tree wasn't growing. She was shrinking. Soon, she was as small as a mouse. Out of the corner of her eye, Clara thought she saw something leaping around. Frightened, she darted behind a present and heard the tree rustle behind her. Clara spun around. "Don't be afraid, Clara. I won't hurt you," said a friendly voice. Clara was astonished. Her doll has come to life. "I'm the Nutcracker Prince," he said with a bow, "and I'm here to protect you. The kitchen mice are plotting to kidnap you." The prince pulled up a whistle and gave a shrill blow. At once, the lid of the toy box flew open and a long line of toy soldiers marched out. Standing in rows, they saluted the prince. "Attention!" he cried. "Clara needs our help. Prepare yourself for battle, man. Wheel out the cannons." Mice began to appear in the shadows. Slowly they crept closer. Clara hid behind the prince. "Steady, man, steady," he shouted. "Wait for the signal, and fire!" Huge lumps of cheese flew from the cannons and struck down several mice. Some lumps landed in the corners, and the other mice scrambled after them. "Excellent work, man," roared the prince as the last mouse vanished. But the fight wasn't over yet. "Bravo," said an evil voice from the shadows. A mouse wearing a crown and an eye patch appeared. "That's the Mouse King," the prince whispered to Clara. "Is cheese the best you can do?" jeered the king. "It'll take more than to beat me. Now hand over the girl." "I'd rather die," said the prince. "That can be arranged." The Mouse King sneered. Soon the prince and the Mouse King were locked in battle. The sword clanged as they danced around the room. Then disaster struck. The prince shivered on a lump of cheese and sprawled on the floor, seizing his chance. The Mouse King put his sword to Prince's neck. Well, I'm going to enjoy this," he said, laughing. As the Mouse King pulled back his sword, Clara whipped off her shoe and threw it hard as she could at his head. He fell in a heap on the floor, knocked out cold. Clara rushed over to the prince. "Are you all right?" she cried. "Yes, thanks to you," he said. "We must celebrate," he added, as Clara helped him up. "I know just the place." The prince led Clara to a golden sleigh behind the Christmas tree and helped her aboard. "Off we go, boys," the prince called to his 4 reindeer. As they gathered speed, the sleigh started to rise up into the air. They rolled up through an open window and into the night. After some time, they came to a forest covered with crisp white snow. "We're nearly at our first stop," the prince announced. "Hold on, we're going down." The snow crunched under the reindeer's feet as they landed. Just then, a beautiful lady dressed in sparkling white appeared among the trees. "Clara, I'd like you to meet my good friend, the Ice Queen," said the prince. "What a lovely surprise!" exclaimed the queen. The queen led them to an icy palace, which glistened in the moonlight. Inside, icicle chandeliers hung from every ceiling. "You've arrived in time for the dances," said the queen as they walked into a grand ballroom. A piano began to play, and 8 ballerinas dressed in silver and white twirled into the middle of the room. They twinkled like snowflakes as they spun around. "I'll always remember this," whispered Clara to the prince as the music came to an end. After a game of catch, with the palace poodle. It was time to leave. Do we really have to go? Sighed Clara. Yes, we really do, said the prince. There's someone else I want you to meet, and we won't have much time. Clara gasped when they reached their next stop. The trees were bursting with marshmallow blossoms, and lollipop flowers sprouted from the ground. Then Clara saw that the mountains were topped with melted chocolate, and milkshake rivers flowed down them. Where are we? She asked, amazed. The land of sweets, the prince replied. Before them stood a huge moss-bean castle, decorated with all kinds of treats. Lifting Clara from the sleigh, he sat her down on the palace steps, and a fanfare of trumpets rang out. At the top, the doors opened, and a fairy appeared, dressed from head to toe in pink. Clara, this is the sugar plum fairy, said the prince. She rules over the land of sweets. I hope you have a sweet tooth, said the super plum fairy with a smile. She led them into a grand hall, where the tables were covered with chocolate cakes, cookies, and candy swirls. Watch the wobbly chairs, whispered the prince as Clara sat down. They were made of raspberry mousse. Clara ate until she thought she'd pop. After the feast, a band struck out, and dancers from around the world performed for Clara. First came the dance of chocolate, and a Spanish pair spun around to snapping castanets. Next came the exotic dance of coffee. A beautiful Arabian princess danced with smooth, swirling movements in time to soft, soothing music. The third group of dancers had came all the way from China to entertain everyone with their tea dance. Many more dances followed, each one showing something good to eat or drink. But the final dance was very different. A group of ballerinas, all dressed as flowers, performed the slow waltz for Clara. Their arms unfold gracefully like the petals of a flower as they waved in and out of each other. And now I'm afraid it's time for us to go home, said the prince sadly, with a sigh. Clara climbed into the sleigh and waved goodbye to the sugar plum fairy. Thank you for an amazing evening, Nutcracker Prince, said Clara with a yawn. She was so tired that she fell asleep on his shoulder. When Clara woke up, she was back under the Christmas tree, and the prince was gone. Only her doll lay beside her. Oh, it was only a dream, she cried, but it seemed so real. Just then, Clara brought the tag that her godfather had attached to her presents. I hope this protects you, it said. I wonder if that means he knew the Nutcracker Prince would rescue me, thought Clara. Maybe it wasn't just a dream.
Maybe.
The end.